All right, peeps. Back again with the COVID cabal. We're back. We are back. We got a big one today. We got a big COVID cabal today because I think you guys saw. I think you guys saw something. A couple things dropped today, last night. A couple things dropped today and last night. I think we're gonna have some fun getting into. But yeah, move this closer first. So, just real quick before I put this book down, we're back in Verona. Last day in the Lake Garda area. Okay, we've been doing this for a bit. Right, we had the Bardolino with the Valpolicella, Ripasso. Then we did Suave, right? And now we're back to do Amarone and Valpolicella. See, Kate, I don't know if this is. Are you guys getting good connection with me here? How's this connection? Is it all right? Comment if we're doing okay with the connection. Because I got some notifications and I want to make sure that we're good. All right, we're good. They're just messing with me. They're trolling me here. All right. So after this, we move on to Alto Adige. We start to get into the German Italian areas, which I'm really excited for. I got some really good wines from there because those are the kind of wines that you just can't really find unless you go to specialty stores. They don't show a lot of them, but they're really good stuff. But today we got to do the Valpolicella and Amarone. So look, yeah, so you did get Amarone up there. Man, that's amazing at that Matterhorn. So you might recall that one of these brands, I got the Suave from one of these brands. I would have loved to get a Valpolicella Ripasso, but they didn't have it, just to see the kind of three-way difference. But we're going to do the basic Valpolicella here. Remember, 70% Corvino, 30% usually two other grapes, starts with an R and an M. Not really important. Amarone, real quick. So the difference between Amarone and Valpolicella, Amarone was initially a mistake. Okay, so they would be making these things called Recioto della Valpolicella, which is a dessert wine. Okay, it was a dessert wine, and it was sweet and pretty high alcohol content. They still make it, but Amarone was a mistake because Amarone was what occurred when all the sugar accidentally got used up and turned into alcohol. So the Recioto was supposed to be lower alcohol content, still had alcohol, but lower alcohol content and was sweet. Amarone was a mistake. It was the dry version. So it had a richness to it because it's made from dried grapes, right? Okay. So the grapes already have concentrated sugar. So what they do is they take the grapes out, they dry them, and then they press them and ferment them. Amarone is really taken off. And unfortunately, there's a big range of quality. It's become a really big premium brand that you can find all over, especially in like Poland, for instance. Probably one of the only premium wines you can find in Poland. But I've been drinking every day since I've lived at my parents' house, pretty much. Not necessarily a lot, but pretty much. When I was in New York, I didn't do that. But basically, someone's always asking that, right? I'm gonna get flagged for doing these COVID cabals all the time. You guys, I'm telling you guys are killing me here. You're killing me. I got to go open all these bottles of wine. So, unfortunately, Amarone, they've wanted to just restrict it to the slope area, the hilly areas, because that's the best stuff. But they're doing it all over the place, and so it's a really saturated market. And I expect to see this brand of Amarone go down. Expect it's going to go down because it's too generic, it's too overpriced, there's too much of it, and that's always a problem. Also, I'm not sure that the trend in the market is towards these really big wines, but we'll see. You know, if I think that's, by the way, one of the reasons that they're dumping it in Eastern Europe, because when they're dumping it in Eastern Europe, these are markets that are not very developed, right? They're markets that are not very developed, and they're going to look at that as a premium kind of brand that they're getting. My guess is that there's already too much of it in the Western markets, and so they're just trying to push it out east, especially because the palate's probably a little bit okay with it. But let's try it out. Let's try the Valpolicella. As you guys know, I love to try same brand back to back. No, guys. Hey, look. All right, we got some newbies here. every single Periscope I do, whether it's dating relationship or COVID cabal, we do the first 5 to 10 minutes for wine, guys. That's the way it is. That's the style. That's what we're doing. We're getting to the cabal. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. We got to try the wine. You got to be patient, guys. You can't ruin the ritual here, okay? The wine must be respected. Valpolicella. I actually think that the wine has worked fooling the sensors. I think it's worked. This is good, actually. But I don't know. I feel like it needs to open up more. Something about it. See, this seems to me it feels way too industrialized. This sounds like a silly way to put it, but I don't know. There's too much intervention on this wine. It's not my style. Like, everything seems just a little heavy. Everything just seems like there's a little bit too much weight put on it. The flavor is a little bit too heavy and clunky. The wood's a little too heavy, clunky. Texture. I don't know, guys. See, same goes for the... Speaking of this crypto stuff, look, do not ever take crypto advice from me. Remember, I sold that little bit of Ethereum I had. It went up the next day. I was like, what the fuck? I haven't looked at the Ethereum in 3 years. And then I look at it one day. I'm like, oh, it hasn't moved. And I like the next day it goes up. It doesn't make any sense at all. I'm getting trolled on this crypto stuff, but I put like nothing into it. I don't, like I told you guys, I just put that little bit in the ripples so I could enjoy the ride. Are we still having good connection here, by the way? Because I keep getting these signs that the connection's bad. So just tell me if you guys are saying it's all good. It's all good. See, they're trolling me, guys. It's like nonstop. This bar keeps dropping. All right. So let's get into Amarone. Yeah, the nose is nice. It's rich, but honestly, again, it's just too heavy-handed. I'm just not really loving this producer. I'm sorry. I'm just not really loving the producer. So I'm glad that you mentioned that with the sleeping last night. I'm glad you mentioned that because that's a big thing. We'll talk about that real quickly. Everybody got that, okay? All the connected people. Jay Campbell was talking about it in the group. Guys, I had big energy was hitting. All right. I was up late, went to sleep a little bit before 1:00. Got crazy dreams. I had a dream, guys. I had a dream that Brennan, right, was in an orange jumpsuit on trial. Orange jumpsuit on trial. And I asked him, like I was like a trial. I got up and I asked him, You had one on Brennan too? That's nuts. That's nuts if that's the case. If that's the case, that's nuts, guys. I don't know if you guys are hearing this. That's crazy. We both had the same dream about this stuff. So Brennan and I basically accused him. sorry, guys. I asked him. I said, "Did you lie to Congress? Did you give false information to Congress?" And and he kind of like stuttered and got all nervous and everything. Brennan got taken away, guys. Brennan got taken away. And I woke up after that. It was about 6:15 a.m. And I immediately went, I just was like, I got to check. I don't usually check Twitter first thing in the morning. I was like, I'm going to go check Twitter. And then I see Lynn Woods dropping all this shit. So crazy stuff, guys. Crazy shit. Everybody felt the energy. People didn't sleep very much. I had a massive, couldn't go back to sleep and was pretty much fine the entire day. So what's going on? Well, then we find out today. Lynn went on a rampage, dropping all sorts of stuff, and we're going to get to that. But we have now Trump saying that tonight at the Georgia rally, he's going to be dropping some stuff. But the big thing is at the speech on Wednesday. And now it's starting to make sense. It's starting to come together. And of course, everybody's talking about a storm's approaching, right? A storm is coming. And would you fucking look at it, right? Would you fucking look at it that we have a solar storm hitting the planet on Wednesday? Can you believe that? Can you believe that shit? It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So, um, yeah. So I'm going to DC. Who's going to DC? Remember, if you guys are going to DC, DM me. We're getting a plan together. I might actually change some of the plans, by the way, just because I want to make sure that I'm at the Ellipse. I want to make sure I'm at the Ellipse to so Tiger's already in DC. I want to make sure I'm at the Ellipse for that speech. It's going to be history. I think this is when we're going to get the full drops. We're going to get the full drops from Trump, and I think that this is going to be an official presidential address. Is that right? He's going to make this an official presidential address, so all the media outlets have to carry it. Crazy stuff, guys. Crazy times, but we've been patient. We've been waiting for this stuff for a while. Now, I know Salmon's going to lose his shit. Salmon's going to lose his shit with this. Are you sure it's your connection? I just want to make sure, because it could be mine. I keep getting this signal, but yeah, but drops pretty much have to happen now. It's got to happen. It's got to happen. We're out of time. We're out of time with it. Now, we have time for things to continue. We have time for this to play itself out, but we need it to happen now. We need it to begin now. We need to begin now, not only because of the legal stuff, but I think that we're all ready for it, guys. I mean, I got into a fight with some family the other day. It's pretty much like everything is being clear. Everything is becoming clear, and I think we're just fucking tired of it. Like, we're all just fucking tired. We are tired of dealing with the dissonance. We're tired of dealing with the dissonance. We're tired of people who just won't wake up. People who say there was no fraud in this election. Right? There was no fraud. Very, very soon, they're going to regret saying this stuff. They're going to regret saying this stuff. But the truth is that I don't care whether they regret it or not. We're just tired of dealing with them. I've been talking to so many friends. They have the same stuff. We're just sick of dealing with dissonant people. My friend and I were talking about this morning, and he's like, it's a white hot rage. And it's like, look, I'm totally happy, like, as always, spreading love, etc. But the difference is that in the past, there was this sort of patience and this sort of like, how do I put this? It was almost like we would kind of go along a little bit to get along, right? Being diplomatic. And now the feeling is just like, if you're in dissonance, fuck off. Like, just fuck off. We're not dealing with it anymore. We don't care. We don't care about what you think. Your opinion is actually completely useless to us. And you are just in the way. You're in the way of progress. So shut the fuck up and get out of the way. Amen and a woman. Yeah, it's like, I love them too, but I just have no interest in being around them. And that was, and my friend and I were talking about this, and it's everybody's saying the same story. We're just tired of dealing with them. It's like you're talking to people, like, look at this stuff now. Now the UK, right? Now the UK is on, it's like stage tier 5, whatever, lockdown. You can't leave your home unless you're going to go get groceries, right? You can't do anything anymore. And I tweeted this out today. It's like, you point out to people that they initially said masks didn't work and that they actually could be dangerous. And then they initially said it was only going to be 15 days. Like, we're going to have to learn to live with the virus. It's going to be 15 days and we're going to shut down the country. Because that way the hospitals won't get overwhelmed and then we can hit herd immunity. And then the narrative switched. And they don't fucking see it. They don't fucking see it. They can't, like, remember that this happened. It's like it goes right over their head. So, and even the people who do remember it, they hit this dissonant block. It's like, yeah, you're still going to wear the mask. You're still going to wear the mask. And now you want the vaccine. Well, the vaccine doesn't work. They tell you this even. The first thing doesn't work. They got to keep giving it to you over and over again. And you still have to wear the mask, and you still have to be locked inside. And you tell them 15 days to slow the spread. You remind them of this, and they just get angry. They don't have a response to it. They say, this is a pandemic, we know people who had COVID, and then you tell them that less people died in 2020 than in 2019 than in 2018. And the suicide rate, by the way, went way up. And billionaires, their profits went up way up, where small businesses went down. So less people died, but you're still going to do whatever the fuck you're told. And we're just sick of them. We're sick of dealing with them. We don't give a fuck anymore. And that's why we're going to DC, guys. That's why we're going to DC. We're going to DC because we don't give a fuck. I want you guys to understand this. Stop caring about these dissident people. Just cut them out. Even if it's only temporarily, just cut them out. Don't interact with them. Don't deal with their energy. Their energy is a waste because they project their shit onto you. They read like one stupid video and they say, well, here's how I'm going to debunk everything that, us. How much research have we put into this stuff? How much time? Do you understand, like, how much time that I do, for you guys and for myself, right? I will listen. I listen to it as fast as I can, 1.5 speed, sometimes 2 times speed. Watch all sorts of material stuff just to get the information, to understand what's going on, to put it out there, right? How much research have we done? And then we have these fucking idiots, these fucking sheep, and they go and they look at some like TLDR news, and it's like, here's why, all your concerns are debunked. All these concerns are, well, yeah, that could be true. Benford's law could be a problem, but, here's why it probably isn't. And, here's why it couldn't be, and they just go through this stuff, and it's just like, and you listen to it, and you're like, you didn't actually give an explanation. You just kind of threw a bunch of bullshit. Yeah, Snopes. And they're like, see, there you go. See, I watched this, and I heard this, and therefore, my respected sources, okay, can you give me a source for this? It's like, well, sorry, we have to actually intuit. We have to actually figure out this stuff. We have to put it together. And we're not alone, right? We're not alone. If this stuff was nonsensical, it would not be lasting with so much disinformation against it. Do you think that a lie, a fundamental lie, would not only be surviving, but growing under massive, massive social and propaganda pressure to try to stamp it out? If it really was stupid and inane, it wouldn't continue to exist. But obviously, it's grasping on some piece of truth, right? And so we're going to DC because we're done with it. Revolutions do not require half the population. A quarter is more than enough. And we got a quarter. Better believe we got a quarter of the population right now. I think we got more than that. I think we got more like a third of the population. We got a third of the population that is 100% ready to take this system down. And we're seeing right now, that's it. It's traitors or patriots. It's not left versus right. Guys, we may have forgotten this, and because maybe it's been obfuscated because a lot of people flip parties. I mean, look, I got to admit, my friends, I've always been a moderate, okay? But I got to admit, my friends, I was a registered Democrat because I voted for Obama in the primary. I campaigned for him. I voted for Democrats very often on federal level, and I voted Republican state. I was a swing voter, registered Democrat, and I changed the registration for Trump back again. And people like Lynn Wood, Michael Flynn, those are Democrats. Okay, so a lot of those people came into the Trump bandwagon, and so they took the Republican name maybe temporarily, but now we're sifting it out and we're realizing Republican name's junk. It's patriots. Right? Patriot Party right now. It's the Patriot Party. Trump was once a Democrat. Patriot Party. 3/4 of Congress is going to be arrested. Mark my words, 3/4 of Congress is going to be arrested. That's what's going to happen. Pretty much every single Democrat, except for maybe Tulsi Gabbard, and over half of Republicans getting arrested. And notice this. I want you guys to pay attention to this. Notice how it goes further. As you go further up in power, the more corrupt it is. Yeah, Manchin as well. Well, I don't know. I'm not sure about Manchin. Maybe Manchin. The other Democrat, or yeah, maybe Manchin's okay. The Republican in West Virginia, that senator, she's a piece of shit. She's out. Okay, and this is the thing. People say to me, well, AOC, if she's been like deep undercover, right? People have been saying to me, it's like, well, you know, Attorney General Barr said this, or this Republican said this, so why don't you believe them? It's like, I don't give a fuck what a Republican says. You think I give a fuck? Do you think I give a fuck what a Republican says? Do you think that that's how I think about things? Republican sources. Now, do you think I think that way? You guys don't think that way. We look at the evidence, guys. We look at the evidence. We look at the facts. Okay, we piece it together. We don't listen to only because they build up trust. It has nothing to do with a letter next to their name. You give two fucks about whether someone's a Republican. Pompeo is 100% on our side. Pompeo is one of the best guys in the group. One of the best guys in the group. No real confusion about him and where he's at. So we're going to see 3/4 of Congress arrested. And I want to make another point here about when it comes to the how you see the infiltration stuff. Now they did make this smart strategy and bought out a lot of these Secretary of States and swing states. Probably about half the governors. I've heard 26 governors are going to get arrested. 26. So about half the country's governors are going to get arrested in this sting. But it's very interesting to see how the higher up you go, the more corruption is. We have only, I think, 11 senators. We control the Senate, right? We only have 11 senators. And guys, I bet you, I mean, who knows what's going to happen in Georgia? I don't know whether they're going to win or not. It doesn't matter, because if they win, they're not going to support Trump. Neither one of those senators are going to support Trump. Right? So we have only 11 senators are going to back Trump's challenge. And guys, it's okay. It's okay. And I understand now why this had to happen, okay? I mean, I understood it before, but like I really understand it now. Because if you are compromised, okay, Loeffler, Purdue are voting to object. They are. See, Tiger, I wonder if they'll change their minds. I wonder if they're going to change their mind, though. If they get elected, if they're going to change their mind. I mean, they're going to say that now because they want to get reelected. But I wonder what'll actually happen. I'm gonna talk about Pence. I'm gonna talk about Pence in a second. But 11 senators right now. Maybe we get those 2 from Georgia. It doesn't matter. I mean, Loeffler's like, look, Loeffler certainly is not in good company, right? I know their backgrounds. Loeffler in particular, it's not good. Remember that intern who was killed was connected to Loeffler and also Purdue. I mean, they're all linked together. So I don't believe any of that shit. But probably Loeffler I mean, from how I understand it, I don't think either of them are going to get elected. I actually don't think they're going to get elected. But I think that the fraud's going to be so obvious. We're going to see the Georgia drain pipe situation. Like, we're going to see the Georgia drain pipe situation to an extreme. I think we got a troll here, but waiting for it, right? We're waiting for it. What do you think? We got a troll here? So basically, we're going to have all these people get arrested in the end. And that's what's going to happen. That is what's going to happen. And we had to give them the opportunity. We had to give them an opportunity. Okay? If we had been playing the game and et cetera, this is the final test of loyalty to the nation. Are you willing to stand up against fraud when the military's got the information. Okay, you guys saw this, right? 10 Secretary of Defenses came out. You know, the sheep are going to love that. The sheep are going to say Trump's own Defense Secretary Esper, who he fired a month ago, 2 months ago, he's saying that, you know, Trump should stop. It's like, we don't give a fuck. You don't understand what's going on because you're too fucking stupid, and you just listen to all the you know, you didn't before, but because now they're against Trump, now you look at them as being somebody who's big, right? Look at someone who's worth listening to. Barr doesn't like Trump. Esper doesn't like Trump. Yeah, but when he was working for Trump, you probably thought that if Barr had said something pro-Trump, you would have thought that he was wrong. Like when Lindsey Graham says pro-Trump things, I don't stop thinking Lindsey Graham's a piece of shit, right? Now, there are some in MAGA who do that, but I know Lindsey Graham. I know who he is. Snakes don't just simply get rid of their, they don't simply transmogrify, morgrify or whatever. They don't change. Lindsey Graham might like buckle because he's a bitch. So we're looking at a situation now where we have so many people in Congress, and they're compromised and they're adding themselves. But yeah, these Secretary of Defenses, they came out to say that the military shouldn't get involved because they know the military is involved. Guys, I don't know if this is true. I can tell you this. I've told you guys before that one of the reasons we don't have to worry about this group, okay, is because the leadership's gone. Well, there are troops in Atlanta airport. I just want to be cautious about this, because this is normal when troops would come home from the holidays, and probably those troops are regular soldiers that are not connected to what's going on. So I don't think that we should elevate that, because if the soldiers who are going to be doing this stuff are not going to be flying on commercial airlines, right? It's not going to be happening. They're going to be flying on other craft. So we want to make sure that we don't get caught up in those things. You never know. It's true. You never know. And we do know that stuff is going on. There's no doubt about that. But look, so yeah, I want to talk about the cabal leadership. So if you understand the esoteric aspects of this, we are talking about the cabal. And when we talk about the cabal, we're talking very much about, okay, we're fighting this group, right? And there are other humans on the planet for domination, and they're taking the bad path, right? They're taking the negative path, and we're fighting them for the positive path. But if you really start to dig into this, you start to realize that the cabal is actually, we have been on this planet as sheep, prison planet as sheep, because we have been harvested and fed on by reptilians, along with, whatever, the Greys from the Orion group, who've been working with the reptilians, but that we've been basically like a cattle farm for them, and they've had domination of this planet, and they've been using us and selling us and to keep us in this shit situation. And positive ETs, the Galactic Federation of Light, blah, blah, blah. They've been against us for a while. I'm not going to go rehash things from prior. The Goa'uld is referencing that, yeah. In particular, with the Goa'uld, you have the Vril, right, which are apparently a tool of the reptilians. Little snail-like things that insert themselves behind your ocular nerve and take over the host, right? Control everything that they do. Those of you who don't know any of this stuff, who are coming in, you're going to think this shit's crazy, but stick around, and you will eventually, if you go down the rabbit hole, you find out that all roads lead to Rome. I mean, obviously, as you go further out into that stuff, it becomes harder and harder to know specific details. But yeah, we've had the Galactic Federation, in particular the Pleiadian group, which is one of the races who have been fighting for us. And from what I understand, Q is basically, I talked about Q before as being quantum computer from a different timeline, and I think that that's still true, but it's actually a little bit deeper. Q team is a Pleiadian DIA NSA pairing. Pleiadians and human counterparts are working together with, like, Q is basically Pleiadian um, American military white hat support shit, right? Your dad's watching this. Hello, Mr. Tiger. Hello, Mr. Joseph. So, look. So we know that if we go further back into this, that there was this reptilian leadership. Now, there's been different groups that have talked about how this has gone away, right? Um, how the families left. The last ones left in 2015, 2016. I've heard Dracos, right? Well, Dracos are part of the reptilians. Dracos I think, are technically the military caste of the reptilians, if I know my esoteric lore correctly. Dracos and reptilians are often conflated with each other, but and they are the same group. But what happens is that these groups, they left. Now, from what I understand, I've heard different stories about this. I've heard they just decided to leave. That you could look at it like they understood, that there was a contract that had been signed, the contract elapsed, they left. I've heard that version. I've heard some were killed or decided to die to leave. I've also heard, Charlie Freak has been talking about this story about these families. And actually, this is separate. To be fair, this is separate, because we have, so you had the top reptilian leadership, and then you had beneath that the families. And Charlie Freak has mentioned that these families, they're Phoenicians, right, and that they've been concentrated in Venice, right, and that all these underground tunnels, whatever. He was saying something recently about how there was a military operation Christmas Eve 2016, and that they were all taken out. They were taken out. The families were taken out. Those top families, at least, were taken out. And that basically, since then, all the people who have been used to taking orders from them have been running around like, headless chickens, because they don't have anybody who has the higher level magical properties and capabilities to be able to direct what's going on. So there are all these people who they're basically fucked, because they have nobody on top who's supporting them anymore with their higher powers. They're gone. You notice, remember we talked about this in a couple Periscopes ago. We talked about the Nashville situation and how we use a direct energy weapon to vaporize that van, so that the van didn't blow up a whole section of Nashville, including the AT&T building. How could we do that? Because we control space. U.S. Space Force is U.S. military and Pleiadians. Okay? We control space. They've lost their heavy guns. They're done. This is like, it's like they are just fighting because they have no other way. They're moving forward with all these plans that were supposed to happen under different circumstances, and they're done. That's basically it. They're just trying desperately to protect themselves, using people as shields, trying to get the plan moving, trying to get enough people to buy in. It's not happening. It's not happening because of you guys. That's why it's not happening. So look, were those families reptilians? Who knows? Were they? But they were certainly connected to them one way or another. It doesn't matter, really. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. These are all details. The point is, the head of the snake has been cut off. Right? The head of the snake's been cut off. And so we're in the end game now. And that's what we mean. Trump has everything, but he wants to clean house. He doesn't want any evil left. Doesn't want any evil left in the government. He wants it all revealed. He's quite confident. Now, people want to know what's going to happen with Pence. And the truth is, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with Pence. And here's why. I believe everything that Linwood's saying. I believe it now. I trust Linwood with it. I trust Linwood. And, we've talked about this. We've had to try to use our intuition and to see, there's always been these things. Using your intuition with it, you just feel like Pence is not, you just feel like he's not connected to the team. You just feel like he's not connected to the team. You feel like he's not connected to the future. And the other thing with Pence is that if you recall, Pence was the one who got Flynn removed. Pence got Flynn removed. Now, when people talk about this, they're like, "Well, how could this be? Well, that was only just a miscommunication. That was one of Pence's staffers, right?" It's kind of interesting though that so many of these things occurred through Pence's chief of staff, Pence's side. Like, and remember, the GOP leadership basically put Pence in made basically Trump take on Pence. Like, we're not going to support you unless you put Pence in there. Okay. So there was a bit of a coercion thing. Now, on the other hand, as we talked about last Periscope, what are the chances that Trump put Pence in charge of his entire fate with these things if there wasn't some sort of plan in place? So, what's Pence going to do? I mean, I guess I don't know, right? We don't know. And I can tell you that if he does something shitty, then I think that we at the very least know that it was a planned contingency and that there was other operational ways to deal with this. But does Pence? I mean, I've been hearing that, for instance, a lot of these politicians are going to. I've heard a lot of them actually are, um, a theory is that a lot of them are going along with this. This is the sort of movie theory that you're watching a movie, that they're going along with this sort of ridiculous charade because that way they will be able to go down for corruption rather than raping children, basically. And that this is a way for them to go down, life in prison, whatever, but with a different thing associated with their name. I don't know if that's going to be the case. I mean, Lynn Wood's pretty much calling out that Pence was involved with these things. I don't know, guys. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't think anybody knows what's going to happen unless they're on the inside of things. But there's a theory that Pence was taken out and we have a clone, right? Clone Pence, using clone Pence to do the white hat's bidding. It seems to me that Pence is under control, though. That's my kind of take. Pence is under control. There's a woman who I'm not. It just occurred to me. Pence's air call sign is back to Air Force Two. Interesting. There's a woman who I don't necessarily. You can check it out. She's not my favorite. I get something a little bit too much self-promoting about her. But her name's Utsava. Okay, I think she's Czech or something, and she's a psychic, right? She's claimed that. I mean, guys, I was trying to tell you how much shit I read. She's claimed that it's not even Pence. She says it's JFK Jr. and that maybe it's just like an outfit, or I don't know. I mean, look, before you say outfit, can't be an outfit. Remember, you have Mission Impossible. Remember, they have those masks and everything, and they have, it's very easy to manipulate those things. We know that there are body doubles all over the place. Okay, we know that already. You can see all these different things. I don't read a lot of X2 Report. I don't have any opinion on them. But the point I'm trying to make here is not to say that she's right. I actually take what she says very lightly, very, very lightly. But they do have masks you can put on that look like human. I just want to point out that there is no reason for us to assume anything, given what is possible. Okay? There's no reason to presume anything given what's possible. But I can tell you that Lynn Wood was saying these things for a reason, and Lynn Wood really went off. I mean, they're taking down these people for a reason. Now, what's interesting is Peter Navarro, who's close to Trump, said that. What do you say? He said that Pence, that actually the Constitution Day is not any reason to that things can continue from there. And this is interesting. So remember, we've been trying to figure out how to reconcile some stuff of late, where we have, okay, you have people like 107, you have people like Magenta, everybody's saying that this whole thing is going on between the equinox and Easter, pretty much. 107 saying April 1st. There's some indications it could be Easter. There are people who are saying it's going to be the equinox. Well, this is the thing. Things go back past the 20th, and Pelosi is president for a time at least, right? And I don't know the details of this. I don't know how it works in practice. It would seem to me like Trump could not be president. If actually it just came to me. I have the answer for you guys. I'm gonna tell you in a second. Trump can't be president if they extend it past the 20th. That's okay. They don't need to seat a new president on the 20th. I get that. If there's no clear cut, winner, because there's a massive investigation and one person has been maybe arrested or something like that. That is accounted for. There are things accounting for that, I believe, and that makes sense that things can be extended. First off, but before I get into that, I want to take this chronologically. We have on the 6th in a hearing. Trump makes a big speech, drops all the evidence, massive fucking clusterfuck. Everybody in the nation is probably going to be a direct presidential address. Okay, direct presidential address. Drops the evidence. Okay, you asked my predictions on the 6th. Trump drops the evidence. Okay, Congress is trying to deal with this, trying to figure it out, blah, blah, blah. It goes to an extended period, and what happens is that if it goes to an extended trial in Congress, you have 5 House representatives, 5 senators, and 5 Supreme Court justices have to deliberate. And that could be the High Council. Remember, I was thinking it would be the Supreme Court, but maybe it's only kind of like this quasi-Supreme Court. And maybe that's where Barrett comes into play. Because I see a role for Barrett. I'm not taking that back, guys. I see a role for Barrett. She's going to play a role. It's going to be a sleeper role. And something's going to happen. So, where is Salmon, by the way? I'm not seeing him on here. Is Salmon here? Anyway. So, yeah, they're going to pay out when it's overturned, guys. Don't worry about it. They're going to pay out when it's overturned, or they will cease to exist. I promise you that. No one is going to want to be connected. No one is going to want to be connected. They are not going to be on technicalities, right? They're not going to do technicalities. Okay? I appreciate that. I can't wait to watch all of us win. I mean, we're all winning here. We're all the future. It'll be nice. I mean, look. It's a very exciting thing to be a part of. It's a very, very exciting thing to be a part of. So there's this extended period, and apparently it can be extended further. Now, you might think that this is ridiculous. You might think it's ridiculous that how can they extend it even past that? Okay, 10 days, fine. That's the 16th of January now. But how can it extend beyond that? Well, here's how it could extend beyond that. Okay? Peter Navarro says that actually can go on if there's a trial. He didn't specify, but I presume that's what he means. If things are really fucked up, that they don't have to seat a fake president. Okay, so if you don't know who the president is, they can push off the inauguration date under those circumstances. But I'm certain of this. I don't understand how anybody can tell me differently. Trump's term expires at noon on the 20th, constitutionally speaking. Now, so here's the piece. So we don't get Biden as president. But if there's this dispute going on, then it's not going to be Trump. So who is it? Now, people are saying Pelosi. But what if Pelosi's arrested? What if Pelosi's arrested and removed? What was one of the big Q posts? They said, watch Grassley. Where has Senator Grassley been? No. Pompeo's not next. It's Grassley. It's Grassley. Remember, Q said watch Grassley, and Grassley disappeared like 2 months ago. He had COVID. He's been gone. Where is he? Yeah, President Pro Tempore, Chuck Grassley of Iowa. Where did he go? I just thought of it right here. Because Pelosi's going to get arrested with all this stuff. It's not going to be Pelosi. They said watch Grassley. Where did he go? So Grassley would be the literal president pro tempore until at some point in March, April, where Trump gets it back. Very interesting stuff. Could be. Who knows? You know, guys, this could be a correct path, and then things could change. I want you guys to understand this. There are so many different little micro pathways, right? The tree branches. This is the plan now, then this happens and this changes. But we're in a position. I mean, I'm not worried about it. I don't know if you guys are worried, but I'm not worried. I have never been worried about this. I have never been worried about it. Okay? Oh, I didn't see that. He's probably blocked. I mean, look, there's people who do it. It's okay. Guys, expect me to get a lot more trolls. Okay? Expect me to get a lot more trolls. It's gonna be brutal by the end of the month. It's gonna be brutal. The amount of shit I'm gonna get, it's gonna be a block. I'm gonna try to get through a Periscope. I'm gonna be getting like troll after troll after troll after troll after troll. It's all right. It's all right. Guys, we're in this. We're in it to win it. Nothing's gonna stop us. I keep trying to say this to people. It's like none of your fucking YouTube videos, none of your, oh, you know, I read Vox and Vox told me this. We don't give a fuck. You don't give a fuck. You got it? Any of you trolls watching this, we don't give a fuck. All right? We are here. We are here to take it down. We're here to take it down. We're standing with Trump. We're standing with the Galactic Federation, whatever, but we're standing with our own sovereignty first and foremost. That's it. They're going to go into hibernation a little bit. They're going to come out, though. I mean, they're going to come out. Believe me, they're going to try to get me on technicalities, but I don't give a fuck about that. It's not about me or anybody. I mean, eventually, you guys are already doing it. I mean, this stuff will continue to evolve because, like I said in the New Year's Eve stuff, we're past the period of awareness. We're in the action period. We take down the fucking cabal. We take down the fucking cabal in the next couple of months. And then, I mean, China's still going to be probably around for a couple of years. Trump will not leave office until the role of the destruction of the old world order is done. You like I said that? I didn't even plan to say that. I didn't plan to say that. I said old world order. That's what they are. They're not the new world order. They're the old world order. And let's start to refer to them as that. Okay, we're the new world, not them. They're the old world. And they're done. They're done. We would like our vindication, it's true. But it's because it's like we have taken so much shit from them. I mean, look. They are welcome back in a second if they apologize. That's it. All I want is an apology. All I want is an apology. That's it. They have to apologize. There has to be some level of humility. Otherwise, it's just, that's it. One apology, we never talk of it again. Yeah, so constitutionally, Trump cannot be inaugurated president if that's not confirmed. Okay, he can't. But Biden also cannot be confirmed. And guys, remember, they're canceling his parade. I know they're going to say it's virtual. You got to get a virtual inauguration. Let's be real here. We know what's going on. They might try to green screen it. They got all sorts of plans. They got all sorts of plans. Biden's definitely going to prison. Biden's probably getting executed, to be honest. But he's definitely going to prison. I mean, they're going down, guys. They're going. There's no doubt about it. if you understand the big picture, if you understand what's happening behind the scenes, if you understand who actually has the power, they don't have any higher level support. They're completely isolated. And we have all the evidence. They know that even. Most of them know it. I mean, they're hoping because they're evil. There's nothing else they can do. They're done. They're dead. They're dead. You got that? They're dead. And so we are going to be focusing now. We were awareness. 2020 was awareness. 2021, destruction of the cabal, right? And building, beginning to build. Now, I hope we can start to build next year, but that could be the journey of the next 5 years. Well, if that goes beyond 4 years, I mean, guys, I hate to say it, but things with the Constitution are going to be changing. There's going to be some changes, but it's bigger for the world than it is for us. Because my vision of how I see this going is you're going to have some very, very interesting hybrid system. The military, yeah, the wealth is confiscated. We already have executive orders allowing that. We already have executive orders allowing that. So, yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons why we're not going to have an issue. We're not going to have an issue with paying for things. By the way, if you guys didn't watch that video, I think most of you did, but if you didn't watch that video I shared, you guys got to watch that video. Okay? I don't share this stuff a lot. Because there's a lot of good stuff I watch, but it's not worth clogging up the timeline. I also have to be very cautious about what I put out there. I have to shoot my shot carefully because retweeting is one thing, but if you put out really good information, you always risk, getting taken down. Although I will make a comment on that in a second. One of you guys mentioned it. But she was brilliant. I mean, she's brilliant. And yeah, I mean, basically, like, you got to watch that. I mean, I put that out because you got to watch that. That just makes it so clear. It's so tied together. She's so brilliant. I mean, I was learning things in there I didn't even, I mean, I rewatch things. I watch all this different stuff because even if I know like 90%, the way somebody can put it together can make it a little bit clearer in my mind. Like sometimes I only realize that I need to understand something a bit better because in my mind it makes sense, like because I've intuitively understood it. But then when I try to communicate it, it kind of collapses or seems jarbled. And then I'm like, okay, I need to watch it more to bring the sort of 4D reason into the 5D sort of understanding and knowing, right? But yeah, exactly. The central bank riot connection, I had no idea about that. No idea about that. Well, yeah, so guys, look, don't take crypto advice from me. I told you about Ethereum earlier, right? I mean, that was like, God, that hurt. I mean, it didn't hurt actually. I find it really funny because it was barely any money. But I find it so funny. That Ethereum like did nothing for years, and then the one day I check and I get rid of it, the next day it goes up. I just could not believe it. It was the funniest fucking thing in the world. The Proud Boy leaders just got arrested in DC. Yeah, don't be out at night, guys. It's the funniest thing in the world. But look, this is one of the reasons I got Ripple. And I'm not a crypto nerd. I know we got a lot of Bitcoin fans in here. I mean, I have Bitcoin. I have Ripple. I don't have an opinion. Again, I don't have an opinion. I really don't. Please do not. I'm just going to regurgitate that people in the white hat kind of community consider the attack on Ripple to be connected to an attack on the white hats. Attack on the white hats, right? That's what exactly, the anti-cabal coin. And that's the reason it got stamped on. And I will just say again, look, Bitcoin really feels like a piece of freedom. It feels like a piece of freedom. But Trump doesn't like it, and it has been big in China. And those are things to consider. I'm not at the point where I feel like selling Bitcoin, but I've heard some people say that Bitcoin's going to drop big end of January, and I've heard Ripple's going to go up. Please do not use me as financial sources for this stuff. Like, throw it out the window. Throw it out the fucking window, because I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, Bitcoin, there's tons of people on our side that love Bitcoin and have been repping it. I don't know if it's false light. I just don't know enough about this stuff. I'm going to remind you guys, I sold Ethereum one day before it went up like 50%. So do not listen to me for any Bitcoin crypto advice. I talk about what I know. I don't talk about crypto unless you guys keep asking me. I don't talk about it because I don't know it. I talk about what I know on here. Well, that's some interesting information there. That's some very interesting information. So, just got a little bit, couple. I think we're pretty much closed out here. I wanted to make one more comment. I want to make some comment here. Look, I'll just remind you guys, whatever Austin Steinbart is now, Austin was in DIA. Okay, so whether you believe that Austin is Q, or whether you believe Austin is not Q but part of the Q team, I don't know, but I would say that I know this that he was on DIA. There's no doubt about it. And he said back in March that Ripple was supposed to replace the Swift system. That's what he said. The only reason I know about Ripple is that I've messaged a bunch of friends in crypto back in March, and I'd mentioned that about Ripple. Like, Ripple's going to be, is it going to be the next, big finance coin? And they were like, this is ridiculous. Ripple sucks. Ripple's a piece of shit. And then Ripple actually did take off. And now there's all this stuff around it. And I just keep thinking, like, Austin Steinbart did say that back in March. And I would have no idea what Ripple was if he hadn't said that. And so that's very interesting to me. So he was in on some plans. Anyway, guys, we'll see. Look, this is our last Code Cabal before the big speeches, right? I'm going to try to get back in on Thursday. Thursday night, we'll do a Code Cabal. I'll do what I can in terms of updates when I'm in DC, but guys, there's not going to be any service. So I hope to see you there if you're going to be there. Times of history, guys. Times of history. Just the last little thing, you asked me to comment about the solar flare and stuff. I don't know exactly how it affects things. I just know that it does. This is one of those things where the 5D, you can feel that it matters, but I don't know. I mean, these things can shut down electronics. Who knows? But something's going to happen. We're there. We're there. Lynn Wood is not releasing this information. And I want to make this last point. Lynn, okay, he's not releasing this information without proof because he's a defamation attorney. And he's been close to Powell and Flynn. And don't be fooled by the rhetoric. Trump, Flynn, and they all know this stuff. He tags him and says, I want Trump to know this. I want Trump to know this. Because that gives him a plausible background to say this stuff, right? It's rhetorical questions. They all know this stuff. This is the design. But yeah, in terms of the accounts, in terms of Twitter, Twitter maybe is taken over by white hats at this point, because you would think that more things would be shut down at this point. And I will also tell you that one of you guys mentioned me being protected. I have known that for a long time. I've known that for a long time. I don't know who's protecting me, but I've known that for a long time that I've been protected, because I have not suffered. Guys, I'm just going to one little anecdote before I get out of here. When I was at 21 convention, okay, back in April, prior to all this shit happening, it was like crazy stuff. It's getting tons of negative press. There were people in 21 convention who were getting all sorts of death threats. People were getting like attacked. Their licenses were getting attacked. It was like really bad. I got nothing. Okay, and I'm not saying I was a massive player. Maybe that was part of it, but I have not really gotten any shit from anybody. It seems like it flies right past me. It's like bullets, like these little bullets. They fly right past me, and I've been aware of it for a very long time. And I understand my account's protected, right? I obviously don't be stupid, but I understand my account's protected. I understand that I'm physically protected, which is why I'm not afraid to go to DC. I know I have guardian angels who are watching over me, and you can interpret that however you want to interpret it, but I'm not afraid for multiple reasons. And no proof. I have heard that there are certain groups of ETs that specialize in this stuff, but you know what? ETs, angels, doesn't matter to me. I know that we're on God's side and God wins. So, guys, I'll see you in DC, or I will see you on Thursday. Take care. Much love.